I sat in the courtroom, watching my own brother and his wife being sentenced for murdering my husband. The judge's voice echoed through the silent hall as he pronounced the words I had waited months to hear. Guilty. Leo, my older brother, received life in prison without parole. Iris, his wife, was sentenced to 30 years. A wave of relief washed over me, but it was mixed with a deep, aching sorrow that refused to let go. My name is Amber, and this is the story of how my brother killed the love of my life for money and how I helped put him behind bars forever. It all began 9 months earlier, on a cold Monday morning in February 2025. I was still stationed in Germany with the U.S. Air Force when the call came. Ryan, my husband of 8 years, had died suddenly of a heart attack at just 36 years old. The news shattered me. I flew home immediately, unable to sleep for the entire 15-hour journey. All I could think about was the last time I saw him, standing in our driveway in his favorite flannel shirt, holding a cup of coffee, waving at me with that warm, reassuring smile as I left for my 8-month deployment. When I arrived, the funeral was already set for the next day at St. Andrew's Church. The sanctuary was filled with the heavy scent of lilies and the quiet murmurs of grief. Friends, co-workers, and neighbors packed the pews. At the front of the church rested a closed casket beneath a large photo of Ryan, smiling, alive, full of plans for our future. My parents, Henry and Grace, sat in the second row. Dad, a 72-year-old retired architect, looked broken. His shoulders slumped forward as if carrying the weight of the world. Mom, 68, a former school teacher, sobbed quietly into a tissue. The second document was a life insurance policy worth $850,000. The primary beneficiary was me, but the contingent beneficiary was Leo. I had no idea this policy even existed. The third was a handwritten note from Ryan, dated just 2 weeks before his death. Leo is pressuring me hard. He wants the insurance money. I think he's going to kill me. My hands began to shake violently. The fourth document was a lab report from a private testing facility. It showed arsenic in Ryan's blood at 18 times the normal level. I sat there for a long time, the papers blurring through my tears. My own brother, the man who had walked me down the aisle at my wedding, the man I had trusted my entire life. I didn't waste any time. The next morning, I drove straight to the Portland FBI field office and asked to speak with someone. Special Agent Lucas Reed, a tall, serious man in his late 40s with a no-nonsense attitude, took my case. He listened carefully as I laid out everything. He said the evidence was strong, but not yet enough for an arrest. We needed more. In the following days, I forced myself to act normal, while every phone call from Leo made my skin crawl. He sounded nervous, asking too many questions about the house, the insurance, and whether I had gone through Ryan's things. Then, on Friday morning, the automated email Ryan had set up finally arrived. It told me there was a USB drive hidden in my parents' safe. The code was the date of our engagement, 06/14/2017. I retrieved the drive and rushed it to Agent Reed. The files on it were damning. The first was an audio recording from inside Leo's car. Leo's voice was clear. He was $280,000 in debt from gambling. He had already embezzled $150,000 from his real estate company and owed $130,000 to dangerous people. He had convinced a drunk Ryan to sign the life insurance policy. Iris, using her position as a nurse, had forged the medical clearance. The second file contained bank screenshots. The third was a video of Ryan, looking pale and exhausted, speaking directly to the camera. If you're watching this, Leo and Iris are poisoning me. I've been collecting evidence. He had IP logs proving Leo accessed my parents' bank account from his home network, receipts for deepfake software he used to clone my father's voice for fraudulent bank calls, and purchase records for the arsenic. The FBI analyzed everything. Some evidence risked being thrown out in court, so they devised a plan. I would be the bait. That Saturday night, I invited Leo and Iris to my parents' house under the pretense of discussing funeral arrangements and finances. The tension in the room was suffocating. When I calmly asked about the life insurance policy and the mysterious transfers to our parents' account, Leo became defensive. Iris looked terrified. When I mentioned the FBI and said I had evidence, Leo's mask finally slipped. "Do it," he hissed at Iris. She lunged at me with a kitchen knife she had hidden in her bag. Thanks to my Air Force combat training, I disarmed her in seconds, twisting her arm and pinning her to the floor. At that exact moment, FBI agents burst through the doors and arrested both of them. 6 weeks later, we were back in the courtroom for the verdict. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence: the forensic pathologist's testimony confirming arsenic poisoning, Ryan's video statement, the audio recording, financial records, and Agent Reed's testimony. Max also took the stand, revealing something none of us expected. He was Leo's biological son from a long-ago affair. Leo had rejected him years ago, but Max still chose to help bring his father to justice. Leo's lawyer tried to argue that Iris had acted under duress, but the jury didn't believe it for a second. When it was my turn to give my victim impact statement, I stood tall and looked directly at my brother. "You were my brother," I said, my voice steady but filled with pain. "The one I trusted most in this world. You murdered my husband for money. You poisoned him slowly. You tried to frame our own parents. You don't deserve to call yourself family anymore." Leo wouldn't meet my eyes. Iris cried silently beside him. The judge delivered the sentences without hesitation: life without parole for Leo and 30 years for Iris. As I walked out of the courtroom into the bright afternoon sunlight, I felt a strange mix of closure and emptiness. The man I loved was gone forever. The brother I once admired was now just a convicted murderer. But there was hope. Max, who had risked everything to help us, has become part of our family. My parents, though devastated by the betrayal, are slowly beginning to heal. We talk about Ryan often, remembering his laugh, his kindness, and the way he fought until the very end to protect me, even when he knew the danger. I still serve in the Air Force, but I've started something new in Ryan's honor. I'm creating a support network for families affected by financial betrayal and hidden abuse, something that might have saved Ryan if we had known sooner. The pain of losing Ryan and the betrayal by my own brother will always live with me. Some nights I still wake up reaching for him, but I've learned that even in the deepest darkness, strength can be found. Ryan didn't just leave me evidence, he left me the courage to fight back. And I did. I fought for him, for us, for justice, and in the end, love, even after death, proved stronger than greed.